Hey everybody, I'm Adam, and this is Think Club. So Jordan Peterson put out a blog post on his Kavanaugh tweet, the tweet where he said that Brett Kavanaugh, if confirmed, should step down for the good of the country. Now, a lot of people have weighed in on this, and Jordan Peterson actually references those people in the blog post. He references God Sod, Owen Benjamin, Karen Strawn, and Scott Adams. And I've watched all of their videos. I read Karen Strawn's blog post, which is brilliant. I actually am going to quote from some of that blog post here. But so the thing about this blog post that Jordan Peterson put out, he says this was an exchange that was kind of a hypothetical musing over a potential third path towards getting past this contentious moment in U.S. politics over this Supreme Court nominee. And I really feel, and I so rarely disagree with Jordan Peterson, I feel like this blog post should just, this blog post should say, guess what? I was wrong. That's all that needs to be said. We understand the hypothetical musings, but he goes through and he contemplates deleting his Twitter and there's a lot of backpedaling going on here, but I think after listening to everyone else's thoughts and arguments about this situation, and myself included, I feel like Jordan Peterson is just wrong, because I don't feel like this third path that he's putting forward, there's no good argument for it. There's no good argument for it solving any problems, and more likely creating more problems than it attempts to solve. So I'm just going to read a couple passages from the blog post that Karen Strawn put out, because it really... First of all, it's funny as hell. And it does very much encapsulate some of the best arguments against this idea that Jordan Peterson put forward. Because I just think Jordan Peterson is wrong. I think he's totally wrong. And he's not had a problem saying I was wrong before. I don't know why he's having a difficulty now. So Karen Strawn writes, and I have no idea whether JBP realizes that it wouldn't matter who Trump named as a nominee. The reaction from the Democrats, their media lapdogs, and their pussy hat wearing, mass produced, placard waving, Ashley Judd worshiping, Me Too leisure class of the well-heeled feminist do-gooders and progressive Hollywood moral busybodies would have been the same no matter who the nominee was. Trump could have nominated a clone of Ruth Bader Ginsburg in the body of a black lesbian in a wheelchair, and they'd have found some reason to vote against her. I exaggerate, but not by much. And here, the actions of one man are not going to change those intuitions of all the people being driven into hysteria over this nonsense. So Karen also says, the truth is, this isn't a world of perfect people. When my fiance gets upset over how so many people behave, how they act on base instincts and then back rationalize what they did in whatever context, but particularly in those that can be characterized as us versus them, I tell him to imagine two troops of chimpanzees screeching, walloping, thumping their chests, and throwing smartphones at each other, because that's exactly what they're doing. And that's exactly why we have these institutions and their processes, regulations, and procedures designed to take the chimpanzee in all of us out of the equation. That's why we have the system of checks and balances in the first place. It's why the law is written down. It's why bad decisions can be taken to higher courts. It's why successful impeachments and removals of someone from public office requires a supermajority of 67 votes. All of these things are there to put obstacles and barriers in front of the chimpanzee that exists in every single one of us. If Kavanaugh steps down, it won't bring two sides together. The right will see it as either a noble sacrifice or a betrayal. The left will call it evidence that Kavanaugh probably is a sexual predator, merely looking to avoid more and deeper investigations. And more importantly, they'll see it as evidence that they can do whatever they want by corrupting the confirmation process and making a mockery of what was a sober, nonpartisan deterrent to mob rule. That those interested in corrupting that process to their own ends are on the left is immaterial. Whether you believe Dr. Ford is a victim of sexual assault or Justice Kavanaugh the victim of a wrongful accusation is immaterial. The real victim, if he steps down, will be the integrity of both the process and the highest court in America. See, she's so right on the money here. Jordan Peterson, you're just wrong. Karen continues, worse still, if he's impeached and the impeachment is successful, the entire system will be destroyed by the abuse of the process. A system designed to depoliticize at least one branch of the federal government, keep it beholden only to the law, and protect it from the vagaries of the partisan mob. So Karen effectively makes the case that these partisan wranglings are a bottom-up phenomenon that we aren't going to escape because Brett Kavanaugh makes some huge sacrifice for the public good, okay? That's not going to dispel these crazy intuitions that are in all of us. So I think Jordan Peterson is wrong here, and I think he would do everyone a genuine service if he came out and said that he felt he was wrong. I think he's not coming out and saying that he's wrong because he doesn't want to offend the sensibilities of the Weinsteins, which the Weinsteins are partisans. They are. They're American partisans. They're on the left. So is Sam Harris. Sam Harris is deep in the liberal bubble. He did an intro on his podcast where he just completely reasons why Brett Kavanaugh is just a terrible human being. It's partisan reasoning at its finest. I don't deny that Sam Harris is a smart guy. He's a very smart guy. But he only uses his intellect to make a partisan case. The fact that in the past he has called himself an apolitical figure is laughable. So those are some thoughts on this Kavanaugh thing. And I don't know that Jordan Peterson is going to say any more about this. His handlers at CAA are probably saying, what the hell are you doing? Shut your mouth. We're working on getting you a TV show. But I'm curious your thoughts, obviously, as always, in the comments below. And I'll link to Karen's blog post, which is brilliant. I'll also link to the other sources, which I've taken a look at. And if you think Jordan Peterson is right, by all means, say so. But I'm a little disappointed that this blog post, the blog post, he even tries to take kind of a middle path on the blog post. Like, okay, I never said I was right. We're just having a thought experiment here. But you've wandered into this mire. Weigh in. Everyone else is weighing in. Everyone else is saying, hey, that's probably the worst idea I've ever heard. Instead of saying, okay, yes, I think that this idea that I threw out there is probably the worst idea ever. He's saying, oh, it's just a hypothetical. Maybe it's wrong. No, give us your opinion on it. By all means. There's no harm in being wrong. It's a good lesson in humility.
Well, first of all, if you don't have a purpose, it isn't that your life becomes neutral in a meaningless sense. It's that your life becomes characterized by unbearable suffering. Because the baseline condition of life is something like unbearable suffering.